Hey, welcome back to Market Mama's podcast. My name is Becky, the host, and this is a trading psychology podcast designed to talk about all kinds of topics that will help us grow as traders so that we can reach higher success. Today, I'm really excited because this is part 2 of an episode that we recorded previously with trader Rod, who is a platinum futures trader from New Zealand. And we just ended up talking for so long, and there were so many gems, resources that we brought about, experiences that had really good conversation around them, that I just wanted to make sure to get it all out to you guys. This is really good content. So today's going to be part 2 of that. If you missed part 1, the link is going to be in the description below. Definitely you want to check that out. And otherwise, just enjoy the next second half of our conversation. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, and leading on your process as well, because like one of the things I've got on my little cheat sheet is like, is there any reason this trade you should get out of the trade? And if the answer is no, the answer is no. And when you override that, it's like, what are you doing? But it's funny. Platinum is sort of, I've never traded the NASDAQ, but a lot of people compare it to like the NASDAQ. And you can be 10 points, 15 points on side, and then all of a sudden it like literally teleports and you'd be like 2 points and you're like, oh shit, what happened? And then you'd be -2, then you'd be -4, then you're +6, and you're just like, ah. So sometimes when it's in that kind of a mood, it can really do a number on your psychology 101.
Yeah, the things that move
But
fast.
that's
It's
what
like,
makes it.
I'm winning, I'm losing, I'm winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tricky. But fast moving means fast profits sometimes too.
Exactly.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one of the lessons that I learned when I was trading gold. Like when I look back at some of the trades, and one good thing that I did is I always wrote them down, which was quite intuitive, where I wasn't sort of told by anybody, so I was quite lucky there. And I'd look back at some of even though they were a pullback and I'd be short, I'd look back at it and I'd be like, if I only left my target where it was, it would have just took me out, come down a little bit further, and then gone back to wherever it wanted to do. But as soon as you get that feeling where you're +3, +5, +7, and you're like, oh, I wonder if it'll go to 10, I wonder if it'll go to 15, I wonder if it'll go to 18, and then forget about it.
Yeah, agreed.
So I'm sure everybody's done that.
Yeah.
And then
Good
the other
job
way, when you're in a trade. Yeah, I was very grateful for that. That was one thing that coming from sort of a business background, like your record keeping was you had to be meticulous because you had to report to other people. So that was always an intuitive thing. But the hardest part is getting that fear and greed. I mean, still I struggle with it. But when you're in that situation and then the trade goes offside and then you're -3, -5, minus whatever, and you're stuck in this thing for an hour and a half praying that it's going to come back to break even, and you're going through every malice thought in your head whatsoever, and then when it gets to break even and your hands on the mouse and you're like, oh, what if it goes to 5, what if it goes to 7, and then kaboom. So yeah, that took a while to undo.
Yeah, and I hate to break it you, but it's probably going to keep being a work in progress. Because it still is for me. I mean, at least I'm telling myself that it's normal, that it's a work in progress for a long time, I think. Because it's like every time I feel like, oh, I've had such a great week, like I'm like it's destined, all my accounts are just going to keep compounding, then this market humbles me consistently over the months. And so I just have come to expect that and to try and shore up my safeguards so that I can weather those better. And it's a work in progress, but and recognizing that she can humble us and do whatever the heck she wants helps like normalize the fact that you have to respect risk management. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's your only saving grace. It's like being in the ocean and swimming with the sharks. It's their ocean, it's their backyard, it's all about them. And if you're lucky, you're just in a cage and you can watch, and you'll get the good experience. But if you don't and you just ignore it, then it's to your detriment. So I always sort of try and keep that in the back of my mind. But last week I had the brilliant idea of trying to trade the election, so that was smart. So I got a stiff uppercut from that one. So I'm just not trading today or tomorrow.
I mean, okay. Yeah, I've traded the news and I got some profits with that. I got to a point where I was winning quite a bit more consistently than I was losing, and I was winning fast in a lot of points.
I did once too in November, hence let's do it again. No.
It's risk. It's high risk, high reward. And so you have to be willing to pay that high risk. And I settled down a little bit after that. And now I do sometimes trade it, but I'll trade it like with micros or after the initial pumping happens, and then I'll see what it tells me and I'll join, still technically during a news period, but not like the first few minutes of a news event. And so it's like trading is an ever evolving process, I think.
And the biggest lesson, like when you sit down at your computer for the very first couple of minutes and you instantly see a setup, no, that's not a setup. Don't take it.
You just want to click, settle down.
We've all done that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I still do it sometimes.
Well, one of the things that I did want to ask you, if I may, is when you'd sort of gone through that journey of finding your space, you found the volume profile, you found your sort of resonate to mean reversion and that kind of thing, going into that second year, like how did you intentionally focus? Because the one thing that I'm mindful of this year, it's like we're January now, and I really want to sort of head down, bum up this whole year and really get good at this thing. But I'm just trying to figure out how to break the year up and what to sort of narrowly focus my gaze at. And I just wondered, when you turned that corner from first year and a half to second year, how did you map that out, or what would you suggest?
Yeah. Okay. That's a great question. I think once I found my advanced mentor, Jermaine, I think that's when I really started to learn an edge. And so initially I found success with him, but then I was struggling a lot. A month, like 3, 6, 8 of trading with him. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I understand your system. I see it playing out day after day after day. What do I need to do to dial this in? And that's when he really got on me and pushed me. And I really got into the personal work, to be honest, because that's when I read Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, about personality, and I started doing more visualizations of who I wanted to be and how I wanted to execute as a trader. And so shifting my mind from like the daily struggle of I just want to get a good trade and do this right, to like calming myself down, I think, and focusing on embodying the successful trader versus grabbing the successful trade. So I think it was a mindset shift of like angst and frustration to like peace and growth and patience. And so then each day I would come to the market and I would want to be a good trader, not lock in a lot of points. And so I think that was the biggest change, is that I learned a technical edge that was real from someone who was legit, and I could see it repeatably day after day after day. And then I was in a community that also could see it and was willing to talk it out with me. And so after that technical part settled in, it was definitely the game changer was calming my brain down and my mind and my emotions and trusting the process and trusting my process and journaling like crazy and doing all that stuff that seems like it shouldn't matter. I think in the beginning I was like, sure, yeah, meditation, you should do that. But for me, I was like, I wanted the technical, I wanted to trade, I wanted to practice, I wanted to be on the charts. But what really was the difference maker was what I was doing off the charts with calming myself, deep breathing, settling, trusting myself, gratitude. Yeah.
The hard stuff.
Yeah. And you think it's not it. Like, I didn't think that it was it. I thought that I was a calm, grateful person. But now in hindsight, I'm growing and I'm evolving and I'm different. I feel different emotionally. I speak to my children differently. I want to shape their minds differently because of the growth that I have had, because I feel like you can really believe in yourself for the greatest successes if you can have some patience and calm down and trust and work, and then know that your work is mattering and giving yourself the props that you have put in so many reps and that has mattered. And so it's like a faith, like an internal faith. And then that in turn will settle you at the charts of being like, just wait for your setup. Just wait, just let it show, see what you're going to see. And then slowly that starts to reveal it. And then as you can start like adding little wins day after day, then it gives you more confidence, and not overconfidence, but like confidence that you've earned.
Brilliant.
It's the annoying answer: time and patience.
Yeah, but it's the real one though. That's the one that matters.
I think it's good to journal. I don't know if you're a journaler. I think you said you are, with the meticulous note taking.
Yeah.
It helps because you can write down, like what you were feeling emotionally and how that played out for you.
One of the things that Merritt from S&B is very strict on when you're watching any of his videos, like to journal in session. So like whenever you're about to click the mouse, write it down. What time was that? What made you get that impulse? And just like trying to catch all those wee triggers. And it doesn't matter whether you did it or not. That part's irrelevant. But just like taking note to say, hey, I was just about to move my stop, or I was just about to click off my take profit and move it 3 feet that way. And so catching yourselves on those little moments it is really good. And that's a purposeful thing. It's not something you sort of intuitively would think to write down a lot of the time. So that's, those are the little wee tiny things are what seem to be the game changer. And it seems to be a common thread through most of the people who are doing this properly for a living.
Yeah, I love that. And in that moment, it slows you down because it forces you to write and think. And then you're like, well, shoot, all the reasons I have to make this change, there's one, and it's impulse. But
the little tiny stopgap.
Yes, exactly. And if the more times we can catch ourselves in real time and make sure we're making a choice for the right reasons, the better we'll be at making the right outcomes over time. Do you have another question?
So I guess where I'm at the moment, where I found the strategy that resonates with me, and I'm getting better at it. I've just started a new account in January with the Combine. I haven't passed it yet, but I'm sort of a couple of $100 up in just the last week or so, barring last Friday's faux pas. And so now I'm just sort of trying to be intentional with what I'm doing and just really sort of turn the corner and say, okay, I've got my strategy. I know I want to do this for a living. All the bricks are in place. Now I just have to build the fence, build the brick wall. So it's just a matter of trying to Rubik's cube the pieces just so all the colors match at the same time. And I sort of feel like I'm sort of still in the blender a little bit, trying to focus on 100 things when I should really narrow down to 5.
I think probably that time when you're getting that consistency, I think now is where you want to try and keep it simple. Keep doing what you're doing that has been working and don't start leveraging up yet. Because there will be another psychological level when that goes from a combine to a master account, or express account is what they call it at Top Step. When you get that express account and then you add another combine potentially, it can be, you can start feeling like you want to push it faster and that you're getting skills. And so I would caution you to not change your leverage and not try to trade heavier, because if you're having consistent $200 or $300 wins each day that are compounding over time, I wouldn't try and just double your size or anything like that. Just keep doing what you're doing, and then let the reps kind of build your strength over time. And then 6 months down the line, you'll be like, shoot, now I have 3 express accounts and I've held because I've been doing what works. And so I think probably just don't try to overthink it or think you've arrived anywhere. Stay humble and stay focused and stay reasonable. Because when you're used to a reasonable P&L, then the swings won't be wild and you don't have to restart from scratch.
Yeah. And that's going through that gold experience. I probably went through 3 accounts, and that really hurt. To be honest, I was quite embarrassed. I thought, this is insane. It's ridiculous. And I'd say to my wife, I'm so sorry this is taking so long. This is ridiculous. But it is what it is. But you're exactly right. I mean, one of the things that sort of wrestling with at the moment is just trying to go back to a micro account just to make sure that sort of emotion doesn't pop up, because sometimes you can be a couple $100 on side and then the market will move against you and you're like, wait, 50 is not good enough. I wanted that 170. And it's and then you've lost it. You might as well just close your laptop and stop, because you've got no control anymore.
Yeah. Which sounds like you have great awareness, because once you start getting into the emotions of fear or greed, you're no longer operating as a strictly factual process-based plan. You're getting but I had this unrealized P&L and I'm not going to stop until I'm back there. And then you could be missing what the charts are presenting to you right in front of your face. And so that's very strong awareness. That keep leaning into that, because that will help.
Not quite there yet. It's like a shadow over my shoulder screaming at me, and I'm still doing what I'm doing, but the shadow's getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, I'm getting there.
I think calling it out of the darkness is helpful, because recognizing what it is and journaling out that you experienced it, and not just saying, I don't know what the hell happened, it'll be better tomorrow, and not ever taking the lesson from it. That's going to ultimately take you longer, versus facing it head on is much more powerful for it, the lesson actually mattering.
Yeah. That feeling, I mean, I guess everyone goes through it, but that feeling where you look at the chart on one day and you think, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. And then you look at the chart on the next day, or even the same day, and I have no clue what I'm doing. And so try to shorten the gap between those sort of periods is, that's what I'm working on right now.
Yeah. You can do back testing sessions, which will help, because those will show you in a more rapid fire with less emotional risk, because you're not trading a real time day. You can sometimes get through, 5 to 10 days in a back testing session where you can really get some good lessons, but without the risk of real money being on the line, and you can be exposed to more market conditions. I think that helps me too. That when I've done back testing sessions, I've always felt stronger and steadier, just looking at the patterns print and understanding them better.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I mean, a lot of the times, like I was back testing earlier on, and I'd find that I would be, oh yeah, I would have taken that. Yep, I would have taken that. Yep, I would have taken that. But in real time, when it was printing at the hard right edge of the screen, sometimes no, you wouldn't have. And so that was, just getting used to that's difficult.
Yeah. And backtesting provides the opportunity to see it way more times than you do in real time. Something you wait for a real time exposure of a certain day, it takes years. But if you can do a backtesting session for an hour every weekend or every other weekend, you're just going to gain experience faster, because you will have witnessed the price action more often. And so, like, my mentor still backtests, and he advised that we do too. And all of us that are in his program have been training for at least a couple of years. And so even myself, when I have a backtesting session, I feel steadier and a little more in sync with what she does, what she has done, Miss Market. It makes me a better trader still. So I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, this has been a really good conversation. I love having traders on, and you're not a newbie anymore. You've been trading for over a year, but like when I was trading for over a year, I still had a lot to learn.
Yeah. But it's knowing that you've got a lot to learn. That's sort of like the saving grace as well, because sometimes when you jump into it naively, and you just don't know how deep the pool is, and so at least now you know what you're in for, which is good.
Yeah.
But it's the dichotomy is there's so much to learn as well.
Yeah. But you are still young. Like we've got time to like process it, take it all in, like let it build over time. And it's really hard to compare. I mean, some people will achieve profitability in 6 months, and some people at 6 years. And I think that every range happens depending on what you trade, how often, how much time you get, what you're coming to it with, what kind of history as an adult. And so just letting your journey be your own and letting it come in its natural time with however many reps you need for your base. Then it's not as angsty if you can, hold down your finances and not rely on trading income yet. Also, that takes some of the pressure off to the best of your ability.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm grateful for. Like I have got a steady income, and I've always been a very methodical saver over the years, so I sort of don't have to worry too much about sort of paying next week's rent, which is good. So I can take the pressure off there, but I just like all people, you sort of want it yesterday.
Yeah, I get that totally. Well, thank you for coming on the Market One podcast. You are welcome back anytime. We can talk again because it's nice.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. I mean, finding you guys, but it was only sort of early December, but just sort of having like what you guys have done, and it's not the flashy stuff, like it's the important stuff, and I think it's been the really grateful part about finding you guys and what you've done, and the book reviews you've done, and some of the previous guests you've had on there, but high caliber. Like it's really, really, you should be so proud, because it is such a wonderful thing you've built. And I don't know, sometimes you'll look at the view count maybe and think, if I only had a green Lamborghini in the thumbnail, it'd be all good. But that stuff's irrelevant. It's just stupid. So yeah. But yeah, you guys should be very proud of what you've done, and I echo everything that other people have said. It's been really an honor to be here with you.
Thank you very much, Rod. That really means a lot. And speaking for me and Kendra, I mean, we really poured our hearts into it, and everything that we bring on, that I bring on, it's because it has mattered to me. And I think that it will make an impact for the good for every trader and kind of help us all stay in the game and level up together. It's really the true core of what this podcast is. And so, any traders, come on, ask me whatever you want, bring up whatever topics you're experiencing, because I think that there is opportunity for us all to just talk it out and have little light bulb moments with whoever, whenever, that will really be a game changer. And so I really, really appreciate that feedback and support. And hopefully it will just keep growing, and I'll keep showing up, and we'll do our best.
Well, the very best thing about what you're doing is the right people are going to find it. And I think that's probably more important long term, because, I mean, you go to anybody's channel and you read the comments, and most of it's vile. Like, it's horrific what people will say behind the anonymity of a keyboard. So, and you guys don't have that, which is a blessing, because, that would do my head in. That's why I can't stomach social media, because that exact reason. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And you're absolutely right. Like, the right people it will reach, because the message is the heart of it. So we're going to keep doing that.
Nice. What's next for you? What does this year entail?
Man, it's a good question. I feel like I'm literally forever a work in progress. I think that every time I have gotten somewhere where I feel like I'm consistent, I just want to dial it back and stay with my process and keep getting better. And so Market Mamas has changed a little bit. Kendra is not here right now at the start of the year. And so there's a lot of room for growth there. And so I think that I just want 2025 to continue growing. I think I don't see any massive goals to be hit. I want to make a lot of money, but I'm not even going to try and worry about that. Honestly, I think that the reason why some money has come is because I've taken the pressure off, and I've just tried to trade well, and show up with the best of intentions for Market Mamas. That's my two main goals: is to trade as well as I can and put out the best work that I can in terms of the podcast, to the aim of helping whoever listens have their best trading journey as well. And so really, I have found that those have been powerful goals for me. And so I just want to stick with those. They are getting me outcomes that I could label, but if I just keep the focus on showing up as my best self, then I want to see where that takes me.
Yeah. And the stuff is the byproduct. That's the fun part. That's the reward at the end. And they creep up on you, and then all of a sudden you think, oh shit, I made that much this year. Awesome.
Yes, that's exactly it. I was just timing to do my best trading through the Christmas break and the start of this year. I was actually still trading. I was trading really well. And so 2 weeks ago, my husband and I sat down, and after a couple payouts came through, and we're like, let's book some stuff. And so we went on and we booked 2 family vacations, a lakefront cabin and a oceanfront beach weekend. And so we're and it was all the payouts just hit the account, and then we paid for them immediately. So it was that was a moment that we didn't plan for. We were just you know what, let's just have a minute where we do something with this. And so that was just a natural byproduct of trading well, even through a tumultuous time for me.
Yeah.
And I want that to keep happening.
And those are the things that stick with you. They're the things that urge you on to work harder, because you can buy the stuff, but after 20 minutes, it's oh, whatever. But if you go somewhere and you can treasure a memory, that's phenomenal. That fires me up anyway.
Long term, it's the travel for me. My house has got so many toys in it. Let me tell you, I have 3 kids at 3 different ages, and I don't need any more crap in my house ever, really. But so that's our biggest thing is every time we've taken a trip or we've traveled or we've gone somewhere and made memories, that has been incredible. And we talk about all of our trips still. Something will remind us, and we'll remember that time that we did that thing. And so, bigger picture goals, that is definitely the financial freedom and life freedom that I want, is to be able to travel the world. Actually, my good friend Jackie, I should make her watch this episode, but she actually has this plan that in a couple of years, we're going to do a New Zealand cruise, where it goes, out there and do some of Australia and see that area of the world, because that's very far from the Pacific Northwest in the US. And so definitely that is it for me and our family, is the experiences that this world can provide.
Yeah. And that's the time freedom. That's what a lot of people sort of gloss over. And that's probably the most important thing, Because if you have control of your time, then the world literally is yours. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, and that's special. And that's one thing that trading really can give a lot of people. So, anybody that's sort of half listening, that's the thing. It's all the toys and the trinkets, they all come and go, but the time is just special. Yeah.
Is that it for you too?
Yeah, it's for me, it's time freedom, just to be able to just pack up and just go do whatever, go to Australia, see the family, go wherever. Yeah. And help other people too. I mean, there's a lot of people where, you sort of give to charity and it's sort of a little bit here and a little bit there. But, when you're sort of earning the bigger money that's potentially possible, you can impact some serious lives. And that's cool. That's better than buying anything, to me anyway.
I love that. I think that there's sometimes this judgment around rich people, that, people do bad things to get a lot of money. And I don't think that has to be true. I think that money amplifies whoever you are as a
Amplifies who
person.
you are. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're just a flashy SOB, then you're just a rich, flashy SOB. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. The world needs those people because they're the ones that create the iPhones and all the things. But the world also needs compassionate people that are quite happy to have their peace and then help others.
I completely agree.
And by the way, that was my favorite episode of your entire catalog so far. The being at peace with your peace. That one I recommend everybody go watch. That was phenomenal.
Thank you. I love that episode. And I say that like almost every week still. Like, I want to be at peace with my piece of the move because it's it's grounding.
That should be at the top of, you pin that at the top of every video you make. That one's awesome.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate the feedback. And so to anyone that watches, like, I really appreciate the feedback because it kind of guides us in what the good topics are. And it's funny that you say that because I've said that many times, even in like my community's live stream of like, I know that the move went on forever, but I'm trying to just be happy with the fact that I locked in these great points for my day. And I still missed the second 2/3 of the move when I was parenting and getting my kids situated. But like, I'm good, like I took a piece and I'm glad that you found value in that.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome. And that's one of the things that the pros echo a lot is like, if you can be happy with, if the move runs 120 points and you can be happy with getting 60 of that or even 40 of that, then you've done your job. That's what it's all about. You can't, woulda, shoulda, coulda. You've got to take your cheese and take it, get out. Because you will give it back. It's the casino mentality. You will just give it back. And the stats are so against you.
That is exactly it. It's a slippery slope because the one time that you do catch the sick move from the bottom to the top and you time your entry perfect and you time your exit perfect, there's a high that you can get with that. And if you chase that every time, you will screw yourself. 1000%, I'm telling you from experience. No, that's not it. That is not normal, for starters, to be able to catch the whole of every move. And it's not a healthy goal because it's going to make you greedy and it's going to make you, really mess with your process. And that, to me, that shouldn't be the goal and never has been or is for me still, because that's too much exposure to the market and it's too much a heightened greed really to try and be a perfect trader. Because I don't think perfection is honest or reliable or realistic or should be the focus, because that's a hard life to constantly strive for perfect. And then what, you're just let down every single day. Like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's definitely not repeatable.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm so happy to have been invited here, and I really appreciate you giving up your Sunday to do this. I know it's Monday afternoon here for me, so that's the only downside about living on the bottom of the planet. The time zones are upside down, but it's okay.
I really appreciate your time because you coordinated with me and like this was a really fun episode. And you have a good point. This is a Sunday for me, a Sunday afternoon. So shout out to my family for being so understanding because they see my passion for day trading and this podcast. And I really truly think that it can matter in the setting of all the content that is out there about trading, because I think women could use a little stronger representation because we're awesome. But also, like, I want to get into the meat of the real work for me. And it's not exactly what the mean, moving average does and teaches us. It's like the the way you have to change as a person to be a consistently profitable trader. And so I really am very grateful to have them have my back, and they're out having an adventure day with just dad so that I can get some good Market Mama's work done today. So it's a sacrifice, could be the word, but also it's just who I want to be and how I want to show up and what I want to contribute, because there is a generosity to people in a position to do something like this. And so I'll take it.
And also, like what you were saying before, like they're learning by watching you as well. Like it's inspiring to them, even if they're not picking up on it yet. And so later on, you'll find like that will rub off big time.
Yeah. I actually think it has. The other day, a couple of weeks ago, I was had a tricky trading morning where my first trade was a loss, and I took a stop out, and then I, paused. I went and refilled my coffee, and I came back in, and then the better setup was happening, and I got in and I took it and I won. And so I think it was a case where I lost, like my first trade lost like 60 points on YM, and the second trade took like 200. So I ended up being a net of green of 140 points. And so then as soon as it closed, I had to hustle out and get my kid to the bus stop for school. And so I'm out there with him waiting for the bus. And I was like, this is a teachable moment. And this is why I'm doing this, is so that they can have this sort of resilience. And so I literally outlined, I don't tell my kids dollar amounts, but I was like, I tried to trade at market open and I lost and it sucked and I was down money. And I chose to breathe and calm myself and try again when I saw something better and stay focused and patient. And I was rewarded for that presence of mind and emotional and dedication to what I'm doing. And I just want you to know that whatever you try in this life, sometimes you're going to not be great in the beginning, but if you calm down and recognize that's nothing against you and still learn, then you can really do any damn thing you want. And so that was literally a bus stop conversation. And I think that speaks to how we're changing and evolving as people and what I definitely want to show them.
Yeah. And that's priceless.
Yeah. It will cross over to everything, no matter what they want to do in life. If none of them become traders, like those lessons are invaluable to any significant pursuit. Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, thank you for everyone who's watching, and really appreciate all of the viewers and support that Market Mamas receives, because we're really trying to do good things and be a positive add to the space. And so definitely give feedback, leave a comment, ask any questions you want, and I am an open book. So hit us up, and thank you very, very much for your time, Rod.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great trading week.
Bye.